Do what you have to do, say what you have to say, feel your heart and trust your soul, they know the way, follow what feels good, those subtle little clues, listen to your belly that is always speaking to you, there's a waterfall of wisdom at your fingertips, if you would only reach a little further in. Everything you're looking for, the pieces of your puzzle, all the love you seek, it is right there at your feet. She's calling for your light, the goddess on the rise. Strip away all your protection and open your eyes. Heaven is on earth in every breath you breathe, anchoring a new vibration, a new way to be. There's a waterfall of wisdom at your fingertips, if you would only reach a little further in. Everything you're looking for, pieces of your puzzle, all the love you seek, it is right there at your feet. And it's up to you to decide, will you stand by the sidelines or join the ride? Stop waiting for someone to give you permission. Only you can make the decision. There's a waterfall of wisdom at your fingertips, if you would only reach a little further in. There's a waterfall of wisdom at your fingertips, if you would only reach a little further in. There's a waterfall of wisdom in your fingertips, if you would only reach a little further in. There's a waterfall of wisdom at your fingertips, if you would only reach a little further in.
Good morning. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Hamilton. My name is Charlie Pond, and I am this morning's service leader. We are not the first people on this land, nor will we be the last. We acknowledge our connection to the web of all existence, honoring the past and preparing for the future. The stewardship of the original people preserved this place for our generation. We seek to be respectful stewards of this place for those who follow. We welcome you today, whatever the circumstances of your life, in the many ways we identify as people, and in the diversity of how we love and live. In this place of faith, we are all included as we search for truth, build community, and strive to make the world a better place for all. Our call to worship this morning is from Shakti Gawain. There is a universal, intelligent life force that exists within everyone and everything. It resides within each one of us as a deep wisdom and inner knowing. We can access this wonderful source of knowledge and wisdom through our intuition, an inner sense that tells us what feels right and true for us at any given moment.
I've lit our chalice, and I invite you to say with me our unison words for lighting our chalice. May this flame be our light of friendship and love. And now let's sing together.
Good morning. Number 126, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. Come Thou Fount come. See the lion and the young lamb dwell together in thy home. Hear the cries of mournful silent, feel our love glow like the sun. When we all serve one another, then our heaven is begun. Come thou fount of inspiration, turn our lives to higher ways, lift our gloom and desperation, show the promise of this day. Help us bind ourselves in union, help our heads tell of our love. With thine aid, O fount of justice, earth be fair as heaven above.
Thank you, Rachel. An oldie but a goodie with Unitarian words. I'm the storyteller today. I don't look like Tim, but I'm going to try and tell a story as well as he does. And the story we're going to hear today is What is Truth, Betsy? It's about a young girl and her teacher. Teacher's name is Betsy. And Betsy has been working with this young lady about the 7 teachings of her people. So Betsy tells Miss Kwaadesi, the last teaching is truth. Truth just is, Betsy says with a nod. Miss Kwaadesi is confused. She just doesn't understand at all. Well, her teacher says, what is? You know, Miss Kwaadesi thinks and says, I don't know. Me? Yes, I think so, Betsy smiles. And what are you? Well, I am a girl, an Anishinaabe, an Anishinaabekans, an Anishinaabe girl. Well, of course, says Betsy. Yes, you are. Now, what else do you know? So Miss Kwaadesi thinks and thinks, and then she says, the world is, the earth is, the green and blue and the 4 seasons and the trees and dogs and wind and sunshine are. Yes, well. And Betsy says, yes, those are all very true. Now, what else do you know? We are, Miss Kwaadesi says, and we're all good people, and we should try to live in a good way. Some people are broken, and they need help, but we're all good inside, and we were all babies once. And her teacher nods. After she takes a breath, Miss Kwaadesi continues, and she says, we all have family, even if we don't know them. And we all have community, no matter where we go and no matter what we do. And again, her teacher smiles. After a few moments of thinking, Miss Kwaadesi cries out, oh, the sweat lodge. It's for healing, and ceremonies make us whole. And then she remembers the drum. The drum is very sacred. It's the heartbeat of Mother Earth. And we should try to live by the 7 teachings and be respectful of all things. She goes on with what she remembers of the teachings. The 4 directions are north, south, east, and west. Our four colors are white and black, yellow and red. Our four medicines are sage, sweetgrass, tobacco, and cedar. Her teacher is very proud of her. She laughs while she says, "That is a whole lot of truth. I think you have taught me a thing or two now." "Well, we all teach each other, right?" said Miss Kwaadesi. "Oh, yes, my girl. That is true. And you know, that might be the biggest truth of all." That's our story for today by Katharina Vermette. What's the truth, Betsy? I'm going to ask you now to hold those words in your heart and in your mind as we prepare for a little time of quiet and meditation, contemplation, and prayer. Be comfortable. Let your mind free itself of extra thoughts and just be for a moment. I'm going to share with you some words from Eileen Karpelis, and then we'll do some chanting with Cindy after we have a moment of silence. If that which is most holy lies within the human person, and if the greatest power in the world shines flickering and uncertain from each individual heart, then it is easy to see the value of human associations dedicated to nurturing that light: the couple, the family, the religious community. For the power of good in any one of us must at times waver. But when a group together is dedicated to nurturing the power of good, it is rare for the light to grow dim in all individuals at the same moment. So we borrow courage and wisdom from one another to warm us and keep us until we are together again.
I am a part of, you are a part of, we are a part of all that is good. In me a small flame, in you another. Join them together and light up the world. I am a part of, you are a part of, we are a part of all that is good. In me a small flame, in you another. Join them together and light up the world. I am a part of, you are a part of, we are a part of all that is good. In me a small flame, in you another. Join them together and light up the world. I am a part of, you are a part of, we are a part of all that is good. In me a small flame, in you another. Join them together and light up the world.
Thank you so much, Cindy. That was just gorgeous and such a wonderful addition to our worship today. So I want to welcome you to spring. Kind of exciting, isn't it? I've seen a robin right there outside my office window, hopping along the bare branches and looking very chipper in the sunlight. There are tiny green shoots that I noticed yesterday coming up in our front garden at home. And the light is changing and it's greeting me earlier and earlier each morning as it streams through our bedroom window. And I've lived in Canada long enough to know that, there's winter and then there's fall, spring, and then there's the other winter, and then there's spring, and then there's winter again, and the mud season. And, I know about those kinds of things, but I always get so excited when we get these first bits of clue that spring really is going to be here soon. And I know there will be chilly days and rain and those kind of things, but it just cheers me and fills me with delight. So I hope that you are also encouraged and enchanted with this seasonal change. And when I think about how that feels to move between the seasons, it reminds me of the very many ways we have of experiencing the world around us. Seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling, and then we bring in that information and we process what we sense and we experience. The vast variety of the world is reflected in the numerous ways that our brains work. We are as varied in our gifts and talents as we are in our appearance and personality. Is it any wonder then that we have so many ways of thinking about and processing and understanding our human experience? Each of us may have a particular set of mental processes that are most familiar and comfortable for us, but truly there are many ways of knowing the world and knowing in the world. Not all of us think alike, perceive alike, or make sense out of the world in the same way. You may remember hearing about Francis David in the past. He's a theologian from the 1500s in the Unitarian tradition. And he told us that we need not think alike to love alike. Now, while I believe he was specifically referencing our ability to be in community without adhering to the same beliefs, I think there is a broader application for his adage. Truly, we do not need to think in the same ways in order to be in the world together, to respect, to care for one another, and to work together to create a better life for everyone. And I think it's probably better that we don't all think alike if we hope to come together to engage and to resolve the world's dilemmas. We need different perspectives and approaches to find ways to live together better, because some of our old ways, frankly, are not working so great. When researching and looking around, one of the resources that really appealed to me and explained things to me in a way that I liked was from the Management Assistance Group. It was an article that they did for the Nonprofit Association. Anyway, they have done extensive work on naming the many ways in which we can know things, the multiple ways that we can be impacted by our interactions with the world. They remind us that in Western cultures, there is a bias toward one way of knowing, the one that is grounded in reason, logic, data, and analysis. So in that system, we are taught very early that being rational is valued, and that this is the best and accepted, if perhaps not the only way to understand the world and what is going on around us. It's what we are told to believe as truth. If we can't reduce it to numbers and evidence or proven results, then we are to regard it as highly suspect. So this leads us to approach our interactions with the world wearing, if you will, a set of biased lenses through which we interpret what we see and experience. For example, we are more comfortable with ideas that fit into and confirm our biases and our established ways of thinking, for example. Our brains prefer then simple falsehoods over complex truths. We assume that others are about as competent or incompetent as we are, and we prefer not to be uncomfortable or made uncomfortable by thoughts and ideas that don't fit with our own. Our biases can lead us to live in a rather narrow range of options and possibilities. After all, we can't see what we can't see. Therefore, we don't trust it or appreciate it or believe that it can have much worth if it isn't ours and what we're comfortable with. We may feel suspicious of those who understand or experience the world in ways that are different from ours. Living within this narrow range may help us feel safe and comfortable and right, but it doesn't help us grow, learn, expand, or innovate. The Management Assistance Group tells us that there are other ways of knowing that are equally meaningful and valuable in making sense of the world around us. And it is in exploring and incorporating and honoring these other possibilities that we might be able to address the world's dilemmas and create transformation. Two researchers that they cite are John Heron and Peter Reason, who came up with 4 interdependent ways of knowing. And they have labeled them artistic, generalized, practical, and foundational. So let me tell you a little bit about each of those. Foundational knowing, well, in this area, it includes at least 3 major foundational ways in which we make sense of the world: our experience, the sharing of ancestral or indigenous wisdom, and through our spiritual and natural experiences. Here we take the time to be in relationship with one another and with ourselves to find a deeper interpretation of the knowing we experience. Practical knowing, here our intentions in the world are based on our previous actions and their results. We draw from what we've learned by the specific experiences we've had, and we apply that to learning in new and different situations. If I did it this way in the past, I should be able to do it that way in the future. Here we learn by doing, and often we do that in a community of practice. Generalized knowing, well, here we look for patterns and experiments to create concepts. This is the act of knowing that includes academic propositions, logic models, best practices, and theories of change. Here we approach the world from a place of trial and error, incorporating our learning into how we go forward, the scientific method. And the last of the 4 is artistic knowing. And here we create representations to understand our experiences and to help share our understanding and experience with others. Through story or visual arts, dance, music, other creative modes, we share perspectives in a way that allow us to come to new conclusions and feel differently about a situation and deeply embody our understanding. Each of us probably has a place where we're more comfortable with knowing. And yet expanding our thinking and experience into other ways of knowing opens up possibilities we haven't considered or even known about previously. When we exercise our thinking into new areas, when we allow ourselves to consider new possibilities, we begin to see things that we didn't see before. These new possibilities may help us see problems from a new angle, open up doors for solutions we hadn't considered in the past, or facilitate our ability to communicate and cooperate across cultures and communities to help develop better outcomes and more equitable solutions. It is Albert Einstein who told us wisely, we cannot solve our problems with the same level of thinking that created them. That's not only true for our personal problems, but it's true as well for the problems and dilemma that face us in the wider world today. I know that dealing with COVID has placed restrictions on the day-to-day activities of our lives, but coping with this pandemic has also opened up a world of alternatives and options, and it's opened up us to our need to be creative. While some of our usual ways of being have been restricted, our ability to expand our mind is greater than ever. And our faith asks us to keep an open mind, to look out there and see what's there, consider it, ponder it, work with it, and bring into us new knowledge, new ways of being, and new ways of thinking. So I encourage you to explore your own ways of knowing, not only your preferred or accepted practices, but the alternative approaches that exist outside of your experience and your understanding. Do some research. Explore the resources for learning about how other people think, process, and draw conclusions about what is truth. Get curious about how the world would look or how you would be if you saw things in a totally different way and developed a totally different point of view. Try to see things you didn't see before and enjoy the new vistas of your mind. From the lyrics of the song that Catherine shared with us, wisdom is at your fingertips. Reach a little further in. Blessed be.
Good morning. Number 61, Lo, the Earth Awakes Again. Lo, the earth awakes again. Alleluia. From the winter's bond and pain. Alleluia. Bring we leaf and flowers and spray. Alleluia. To adorn this happy day. Alleluia. Once again the word comes true. Alleluia. All the earth shall be made new. Alleluia. Now the dark, cold days are o'er. Alleluia. Spring and gladness are before. Alleluia. Change that mourning into praise. Alleluia. And for dirges, anthems raise. Alleluia. How our spirits soar and sing. Alleluia. How our hearts sleep with the spring. Alleluia.
Our benediction this morning is a Native American proverb. Listen to the wind, it talks. Listen to the silence, it speaks. Listen to your heart, it knows.
One day, when the glory comes, it'll be ours, it'll be ours. Whoa, one day, when the war is won, we'll be sure, we'll be sure. Oh, glory, glory, glory.
Hands to the heavens, no man, no weapon formed against. Yes, glory is destined. Every day women and men become legends. Sins that go against our skins become blessings.
The movement is a rhythm to us. Freedom is like religion to us. Justice is juxtaposition in us. Justice for all just ain't specific enough.
One son died, his spirit is revisiting us. True ones living in us. Resistance is us. That's why Rosa sat on the bus. That's why we walk through Ferguson with our hands up.
When it go down, we woman and man up. They say stay down, and we stand up.
Shots, we on the ground, the camera panned up. King pointed to the mountaintop, and we ran up.
One day, when the glory comes, it'll be ours. It'll be ours. Whoa, whoa. One day, when the war is won, we will be sure. We will be sure. Whoa, glory. Glory. Oh.
Summer is now for every man, woman, and child. Even Jesus got his crown in front of a crowd. They march with the torch, we gon' run with it now. Never looking back, we done gone hundreds of miles.
From dark roads, he rose to become a hero. Facing the League of Justice, his power was the people. Enemy is lethal, a king became regal. Saw the face of Jim Crow under a bald eagle.
The biggest weapon is to stay peaceful. We sing, our music is the cuts that we bleed through. Somewhere in a dream we had an epiphany. Now we right the wrongs in history.
No one can win the war individually. It takes the wisdom of the elders and the young people's energy. Welcome to the story we call victory. The coming of the Lord, my eyes have seen the glory.
One day.